doing some business together, and I want to showcase people who are close to my, what I do, and bring attention to Jan at this moment in time. When Jan and I have talked in the past, I found her story to be really interesting, and I wanted Jan to tell us a little bit about it. I remember you telling me, Jan, about your needlepoint, and if you wanted to tell us about that. I'm going to share the screen right now while we're talking so people can see your space inside on Main Street.
Okay.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Well, Finishing Touches actually in the beginning had nothing to do with framing. I started a side gig business while I was still in college, and that was a business where I worked with needlework shops and took their customers' completed needle points or cross stitch, whatever they had, and did decorator sewing. So I made pillows, stockings, whatever they wanted sewn with using their completed needlework is how we started. There came a time after a couple of years where the needlepoint stores especially needed to have a framing component. And my late husband was in a position where he was able to acquire a framing business. So we added the framing into the needlework finishing. And that was really terrific. That worked well for so long. We had stores all up and down the East Coast that we worked with. We shipped daily as far south as Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beach, and as far north as Portland, Maine. So
Wow.
we really were doing really well until there was a downturn in the economy. Quite a few of the needlepoint stores just closed, and we had to figure out how we were going to deal with that. So as luck would have it, there was a space that was available near our home in Richmond, and we took that space. And that really enabled us to keep going with the wholesale business that we had, but also add a retail component. And really, in the end, adding that retail component was the best thing that we ever did, because you see very few needlepoint stores today. As a matter of fact, I still work with only one of the original shops. So if we had stuck with that, we never would have been able to continue all these years. And the shop that you're seeing now in the picture, my son Evan joined the business with me after my husband passed away, and we moved the business to Wakefield in 2012, and we're exclusively framing now. I don't do any of the needlework finishing, so we've made quite a change in just a couple of years, and we love it there.
One thing I notice about you, Jan, is you're always open to growing and learning and making advancements in your business. And I remember going to an event. It was a chamber event at your shop, and you're talking about Evan and how he loves to be creative with matting. So he
Right.
does some interesting mat cut designs, which I want to show you. In addition to like this one here. You can see that
right. Yeah.
Really cool. I don't know if this is an artist that you know, or
No, that's actually a print that we had. We just wanted to play, he wanted to play around with matting, and he liked to just have that really delicate curve at the top. You see on the inside mat at the top, it sort of mimics the curve of the guitar. And then he played a little bit with the colors in the piece, and just really, I think it really is terrific with, if you notice, the framing is actually what we call a stacked framing. The black mat is then up against a red orange rust frame, and he topped that with a natural frame. So there's a lot going on in that piece, and we like to have samples like that in the store, so when we have special cut mats, we can show people how a simple change in the mat can really affect the framing. And then we can also show them what multiple mats look like, and also what it looks like to use more than one frame on a piece. So we get a lot of mileage out of that one sample.
And being an artist, I appreciate that it is really enhancing the piece itself. It's not taking away from it. So your eye is really drawn right into the actual artwork as a result of this beautiful, matting design. So that's
That's right.
takes talent to do that.
Well, we often have people come in and say, I just want a simple frame. I don't want the framing to overwhelm the artwork. So it's nice to have pieces there like that so that we can show them you can do a lot with framing. And like you just said, you can still bring your eye right to the artwork because, after all, it's your art that's most important in that whole package.
I just wanted everyone, I wanted everyone to see Evan. Whoops, that wasn't what I intended.
That's pretty much how he likes to be.
So this is Jan and Evan in their shop. And Evan likes to stay behind the counter, but probably a good place for him because he does some pretty beautiful work.
Oh yeah. And he is a terrific designer too. He doesn't like to take credit where credit's due oftentimes, but he really is just a terrific designer.
Just kind of wanted to give anyone that might be local a little idea, or not local for that matter, what the outside looks like. This is their frame, and it's a beautiful, awesome location. The town has different events throughout the year that Jan likes to participate in, and it just makes it fun. I like how you also, you have focused on things like sports, and you actually got kind of connected with URI. And is this one of the jerseys here on that my mouse is on?
No, that's actually a Teddy Bruschi, signed Teddy Bruschi shirt. I think I gave you one of the ladies rowing team that was from URI. Yes, the
Okay.
uniform. I gave you that one because it's one of my favorites. To me, it's a real challenge to frame a lady's uniform like that and have it have some type of feminine shape. You don't want to go overboard, but you want to see the waist. You want it to look a little feminine. And then to figure out how to work the photo and the plate, which has all the information on the team, into the package without making it too big. So that's what we came up with, and we were both so psyched when that one was finished because it was something totally different. We're so used to jerseys where you pretty much know right away where you're going with it, but this took some experimenting, and we're just so pleased with it.
This is interesting too. Was this a special project for someone?
Yes, that was for one of our customers. That was actually, I believe, his uncle's piece, and they gave us the components. It had actually been framed in a different frame, but they wanted to have it custom framed. So we had to really use a very deep frame for that, because if you think of how those those flags look, when they're folded, they're really thick. So we used a deep frame, and most of the depth is to accommodate that flag. We had to use some shadow box details on that one because we had the bullets and the metals, which actually are raised up a little bit on the matting. So we had to get some depth on the front of the frame as well as behind the frame. That particular piece, we had to make copies of some of the components and make them just a little bit smaller so that we could maintain the proportions on that. And yeah, I really like that one. I like how that one turned out. And
That's one of the things that Jan often talks about at our networking meetings, is her ability to preserve memories. And she also does printing. So that's why she was able to make copies of, you know, certain images. Do you do touch-up work if an image isn't in great shape?
yes, I do a little bit myself, but my talent is limited in that area, so I rely on others to do the really big jobs. We've had things come in that have been torn, have faded to practically gray and white, that we've been able to have restored. So the simple things like if there was a scratch or red eye, things like that I can do. But for most jobs, I do utilize one of our partners in that capacity.
Nice. So what is this over here?
That's a needlepoint, and one of my customers did that as a gift for her brand new granddaughter. And we had a lot of fun choosing the framing for that one because we wanted it to be bright and cheerful and so enable the little girl to have it in her room, not only as a baby, but growing up. And I think that one really accomplished that goal of being bright, cheerful, happy, but yet it will stay with her for years and years and years. And I can see even as an adult, she'll still be able to use that framing. So it's not particularly babyish or juvenile. It really will fit with any setting as she grows.
And from what I understand, needlepoint artwork needs a particular touch when it comes to framing, and because you have a background in needlepoint, you know exactly what to do.
Right, exactly. We often have people bring things in that are so out of shape. They look like parallelograms. This lady is a really terrific needlepoint, needs blocking, and those that are really out of shape, we can successfully block so that it looks fabulous when it's framed.
That's awesome. So you people that are home needle pointing, think of Jan when it comes to getting them framed. And I think that Jan is offering some sort of certificate now, if you want to get your framing now set up for you to bring in after this silly virus thing is over.
Yeah, right. We're offering a 20% discount on gift cards through the website. So if you go to finishingtouchesri.com, we have several spots where it will lead you to the gift card. You can't miss it. It's a pop-up that comes down on the home page. So 20% off, and that applies to framing or anything that we have for sale in the store. So you purchase now, you'll get a good deal when we finally do, like you say, open up again. And we're looking forward to seeing people again.
Did you want to talk about any of the other framed pieces?
Oh yeah, why don't we talk about that Patriots piece for a minute? at the top next to the guitar.
Do you see it?
Yeah. So actually what that is, it's a full copy of the Sports Illustrated magazine. And that's something that is really fun to do. We don't change the magazine in any way. We've mounted it as the magazine. So we don't take the cover off and frame that. We have it complete so that it doesn't lose any value. And we mount it with you mount it with a piece of mylar. We make an encasement for the magazine, and then we mount that. And then of course we put that on the undermat, which was a really beautiful silver. And then we spaced away from the magazine before we surrounded it with the two shades, the red and the blue mat, and then completed it with the red frame. So that Sports Illustrated magazine could actually come out of that framing. We'd have to take it apart for you, but if the customer ever wanted to have it come out for any reason, it's a simple process for us, and the magazine has not been altered in any way. So that's something cool that we do. We framed a couple of books. We can go pretty thick. We just have to base the depth of the frame on how thick the book is.
So
That's cool.
just to give people ideas on who they might be out there that would want to have something like that done, typically who are people who have a job like this done?
Fans. Yeah, fans actually. We had a customer who had a Red Sox magazine, souvenir magazine framed for their son's 16th birthday, because he's a tremendous Red Sox fan.
Ah, that's cool. This could actually be a great gift also to someone you know out there who, is a fan of a particular sports hero or has been showcased on Sports Illustrated or whatever.
Oh yeah, and other magazines as well. People from all walks of life, all careers, oftentimes find themselves featured in a magazine, and we can do the cover, or we can do the inside pages. So there's a lot that we have done and can do with magazines.
Are there anything that's particularly geared towards women that, a woman might want showcased?
Yeah, actually, well, I remember we did one for you when you were a leading lady of, was that Westerly, right? Leading lady of Westerly?
It was the So Rhode Island leading lady.
Rhode Island, yeah, that was cool. We also had a customer who does really fabulous baking, and her cookies were featured, and I think that was in So Rhode Island too, if I'm not mistaken, but we framed those pages for her, and that was just awesome. That was really awesome. I mean, the article was about baking with children, so that was very cool.
So anybody thinking about buying gifts, that could be super special. Of course, we have to plan it out around this virus thing, but Jan is anxious to take care of you. Again, anything else before we move on? I think we've got this one more image, I think showcases the framing artwork.
Right, the framing wall.
Which is really beautiful. And Jan also, besides her many supplies of frames, she has in-house artist Mary Walsh, who is also one of her husband, Jeremy Walsh, who owns Right Click in Westerly and many other locations. His wife is an artist, and she does quite a few different things. This is her pottery, and it's really beautiful, and available for sale at Jan's shop. I'm pretty sure that if anybody was interested, uh, something can be worked out for either shipment or.
Right, right. We can do curbside pickup on that. And
Okay.
also we will ship, and we're not charging anything for shipping. It's just in these times, you know, we want to do what we can to help other people out. Matter of fact, I just put those up on the first two that you showed, I put up on Facebook and Instagram this morning, and one of them sold right away. So I was really
Ah,
psyched. Yeah.
that's
Uh,
fantastic.
yeah. Yeah. So I don't even think Mary has seen that yet, because I did tag her on you know, on Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, so that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, Mary has jewelry, but Jan wasn't feeling confident about getting good photos of them.
No, I'm gonna have to really practice taking pictures of things like that that are small and have fabulous details, because I was either getting pictures where the detail was washed out or it was too dark. So I'm hoping to spend a little time with the camera later on today and see if I can take some pictures that do her work justice, because her jewelry is just amazing.
Well, I'm sure if you have any questions, you can also call Jan. Did you want to give a number that people can reach out to you, Jan?
Sure, they can call the store, 401-284-3700. I do check messages a couple of times a day, and I return calls as promptly as possible. Can also get in touch with me via email, jan@finishingtouchesri.com. And that's probably right now the best way, because when I get an email, it pops up on my screen, and I seem to always have my phone or a computer really close by these days. So, so yeah.
I had a picture, but I don't know if I can pull it up. I thought I had it in this folder, but Jan and I have done paint parties together at the shop, and I'm actually still seeing if I can get some paint parties virtually going, but Jan will make up some inexpensive frames to fit the 16 by 20 paintings that people do, and it's actually amazing the difference it makes on the artwork that people make those nights. And people sometimes have looked at their painting and been like, oh, you know, that was fun, but I don't know how to hang this. But then I put a frame on it that Jan has made, and they're like, I'm gonna go get some extra money for this.
Yeah, that's right. And those special prices are only for class
Yeah.
participants. So so we like to do something special for them as well. I'm really looking forward to when we can do classes again. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you do the online classes, because that's really intriguing. I think people are going to really love doing it that way, since they can't do art classes in person. The ones that I've seen you do on your YouTube channel are terrific.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm hoping that people want to add that dimension to their cocktail hour virtually on Zoom. So
Yeah.
I think it could be a lot of fun. So,
Oh, yeah.
and so that, you know, I just want to let it be known that we also will add Jan's frame into the mix if you thought you'd like to give that a shot. And definitely give Jan a shout out through email or phone if you are interested in any of these products, or if you want to, you know, plan ahead for when we can actually get in business in person. Jan would certainly love your support, because this is a tough time for all us, you know, businesses right now. And if you were able to secure a gift certificate or a certificate for later for yourself, she would be immensely grateful and love to help you out in getting your project done. So thanks again, Jan, for taking your time, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again and this whole thing being done with.
Oh, well, thanks, Julie. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. It really means a lot. Thank you.